Okay, I am back. The brand new project. So I wasn't. I'm waiting on a commission. I payment for a commission. As soon as that comes in, I'll probably have to abandon whatever I'm going to start right now to do that. Or because I don't think they want that on camera, the build of that, I may be able to still squeeze this into the time when I come here and build. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rebuild a puppet that was stolen back in about 2012. Um, so when BJ and I had the shop, we had just moved in, and I had all the Melon Pool puppets in the front room, and like the first week we were in there, somebody kicked in the front door and stole two puppets. They stole Sam the dog and Ralph Xenobop, which is this is Sam. I did actually rebuild Sam. So here's Sam, and I rebuilt him after the break in. Mainly because we had insurance. We had just gotten insurance on the shop, and they said, well, I had to rebuild the puppets and then give them what it cost, and then they would reimburse. However, after I built him, they wouldn't honor it. They didn't think it was worth it. So I ended up not getting paid for that one. So I never rebuilt Ralph, which all I have is a puppet that I built in about 2001. This is the 2001 Ralph right here, which is pretty, well, it's not bad, but it's not great either. I did build another one, the one that got stolen, in about 2005, because I got laid off from DirecTV, and I rebuilt that puppet at that point. And it was probably the most professional puppet, aside from a couple of things. Number one, I still used Blizzard fleece on it, and I did machine sew a fair amount of it because I wasn't a very good hand stitcher at that point. But it was the last puppet that I did like that. But it was the first puppet that I actually did the wedge method to create the skull. It also had mechanisms in the eyes that allowed it to go like this. It didn't work real great, but I think I've been able to figure out some of that, how to make that work better. So anyway, with that, kind of beating around the bush, I drew a comic yesterday online. I actually inked an old Melon Pool strip, and in drawing it, I was like, I really should revisit this character Ralph. He's got a great look about him, and he'd be kind of fun to redraw. He also had his evil clone who was actually good, Ralphie, which once I finish this one, I could probably just build him as well because it'd be basically the same pattern. So how am I going to start on this? Well, I want to show you, I have patterns. However, I've learned so much in the way that I build that I probably should rethink how I do these patterns because they're going to be. While I can reuse some of them, a lot of them I can't. So this is his hair. These are the pieces I use for his hair. This is his mouth plate. Oh, it looks like when I was gonna rebuild him just before I'd started rebuilding him just before they got stolen, just before we moved into the new place in 2011. So these are the head patterns for that. However, I think I'm probably going to start over. This is mini head. I think this is for Mayberry. I don't know what that's doing in there, but okay. These are his eyelids. This is his lower mouth palette. This is his upper mouth palette, right? Ralph, lower. I've got some really interesting patterns. I may not be able to use any of these, but it's always good to look at. Okay, look at what I'm doing. Ralphie eyelid. All right, so this is what I used to use. Here's why I mess up my camera again. There we go. This is what I used to use for the Ralph head pattern, which I might just start over from scratch. This is a pretty good pattern, but I think I can do a little bit better. Hey, Karen. I didn't see TC was here. Okay. Well, hello, Karen and TC. And what's this? This is upper mouth palette, and this was 2013. So this was from when I was rebuilding him. Yeah, there's not too much here I'm going to be able to reuse. I might be able to reuse this and the hair. All right, so let's get started on this thing then. I'm going to get a hunk of cardboard here, and I'm going to make a mouth palette because number one, this is, well, actually, before I start anything like this, I want to draw some stuff for you guys because, again, it informs me the way I get started. So, and this is good for people who are trying to convert 2D characters into 3D puppets too, because there's a lot of things on this character that don't work as a puppet that you have to kind of make concessions for. So this is kind of the way I draw him. Actually, maybe I should zoom in, but so that's basically his look. I use these 4-inch I use these 4. Let me go what I have. So I use these 4-inch Christmas bulbs for the eyes. However, if you look at these, he gets these goggles, and so what I do is I grind off 1/2 of it, or not 1/2, but a little angle off of it. Wow, I have some vacuum form poles of it. I didn't know I had those. Just a second. There we go. So what I do is I grind off an edge off of these guys, and then graft them together, epoxy them together into the 2 eyes. So I'm going to do that again, although I think I'm going to try and make a jig so that they're consistent every time I make them. But they start off life as these acrylic balls. I didn't remember doing this, but it looks like at some point I vacuum formed some of these. So this might be a better way to go because they won't chip as badly as. Although, is this even? That's a full. Well, they're pretty thin, but I'm going to try it. I'm going to try using these guys, I think. But I've got plenty of these to start. And then these are one of his eyelids. The eyelids I used to have. And you can kind of see. They kind of seat in there like that. And then when you pull a lever, they'll go up and down. The original ones, they were on 2 pivots. So they would, but always got in the way of each other. So I don't know that I'll be able to do that in this one. But it's interesting that I still have most of the hardware on here too. Anyway, I'm just thinking out loud here for a second. I remember that I used a 4-inch PVC coupling, and I would cut a like a 1/2-inch piece off this because the wire would bend so bad that I couldn't get a good curve, and it was the same diameter as these spheres I was working with. So anyway, I'm going to use these and get these out of the way. And oops, get this out of the way. And what I was trying to show you with this is, okay, so I've got these Christmas tree bulbs, which I'm going to use. And then when I draw it, I kind of make like a margarine tub shape. So I'm going to make that. And then I also think where this hair is, that there's a skull back there that kind of fills it out, especially from the side view. When I draw it, in my mind, his hair does this, kind of covers that area. So I kind of build that into it as well, just so that the hair doesn't just lay there flat. And he needs a couple of attachment points for his antenna. And the other thing that I do when I draw him, again, I swear there's a point to this. K&S has some brass plates that work great for that also. What has brass plates for what? Okay, so anyway, when I draw him, especially because he always screams, I usually do stuff like this, where he has this mouth that does that. I think I'm going to try to engineer something where he gets this shape back here, and he has the ability to open his mouth real wide like that. The original one, it was just a regular, kind of a Kermit the Froggy shape down there. So I'm going to try and not do that this time. Hand would go in like so. Oh, yeah, well, what's K&S? Anyway, this is kind of where I'm starting from. We'll see how far I get with it. But I think where I'm going to start is I'm going to make a mouth palette. And then take it from there. What is this? This is Ralphie mouth plate upper plastic. Oh, so he must have had a smaller. So it was like this was the way I did it. So I guess that's a place to start. Okay, so let's start there. Let's see what I'm doing. Sorry, let me. I really should figure out a way to make this zoom and like have like a way to zoom it remotely with instead of having to do it that way. See, usually I start with a sphere and work my way out, but when I have the shape of a mouth plate, like if I was making Scooter, I would start with the Scooter shaped mouth plate because that's a shape that I can identify, and then I'd build up from there. I'm kind of doing the same thing here. Okay, so I think that's going to be too big. but I'm going to start here and then I'm going to cut it down. The other thing about this character, the way he is, his neck is super small. Like show you. His neck is super small. Like this is basically a life-size representation. And you can see my hand's not going to be able to fit in there. Or, you know, the puppeteer. But you can see how that jowl kind of, or that, the back of his mouth does that. That's kind of something I want to add to this. But the neck's going to be definitely thicker, just so you can get your arm up in there. But this will all be fabric. There won't be any foam in the lower part because that's going to end up being the size of a wrist. So. And if I have to abandon the mech, I'll abandon the mech. But you know what? I did it once before. I should do it this time too. Okay. This is some garbage cardboard here. Okay, so my thinking is that, wait, let me think about this for a second. I think that the front of the mouth is going to be a little bit shallower. Okay, so what I think is going to happen is I'm going to build up the sides with foam. Let me think about this for a second. See, that seems awfully big, but I like how deep that is. Yeah, so I just think the lower is going to be too big. Sorry, this is just me thinking out loud because I don't really know what I'm doing. I can't believe the lower lip is that much smaller. So there we go. Okay. So that's a little bit bigger. That's a little bit smaller. Yeah, that's pretty close to what I did on this one, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't want it to be too big because I got to keep it in scale with the other puppets I already have. And why I'm actually making this, no idea. It's not like I'm going to bring the strip back, but of course I say that now. See, I kind of feel yeah, I almost wonder. Yeah, I wonder if I can get by with a foam mouth plate. Because if it was foam instead of hard plastic, it could make all these curves. Okay. It's funny because when I do these little live things like this, I always think, oh, I'm going to take them through every part of the process and not have anything like pre-planned. But I tell you what, it's real hard not to think about this stuff as I'm waiting to make these videos. Because okay, let's try that. I don't think I have any of those wedges left. Okay. Okay, where's my... The miscellaneous one is where I keep all the bodies, since they all bodies and the arms, since they're all the same. Okay. So I am going to start with the top part of this old pattern, because I do think that there's some stuff I can salvage from it. It may end up changing completely, but I guess that's where we'll start. And this is why putting the date on the pattern is so important, because I'm going to be adding new patterns to this, and I'll probably throw some old ones out. But if I don't, down the line I could have two, like I did. I had two mouth palettes on here, and if they weren't dated, I wouldn't know which is the original and which is the newer one. Yeah, so I try to be better about it, but how it usually works with me is at the beginning I'm pretty good about labeling everything, and as the project progresses, I get sloppier and sloppier about it. But at the end of every project, I try and gather up all the loose patterns that I just made and put them on the basically label them and put them all in a folder so that I have them. Okay, so I'm going to use the top of his head here because I know basically the shape of that was good, but I think I'm going to alter it pretty significantly, so I'm not going to get too married to it. And the lower jaw, I'm not going to use at all. That's what I say right now. What's this project? This is Ralph. This is Ralph Xenobop, my old character that you're so familiar with, Chase. And I'll probably have to add wedges to this and make changes to it, but at least I have a place to start. And I'm not really matching anything since there is nothing to match. I mean, that puppet doesn't exist anymore, as far as I know. I still check eBay pretty regularly to see if it shows up, or Craigslist. Although I'm pretty sure that the stolen puppet will never be seen again. Okay, TC says, I tried really hard to label and save all my anteater build, but I was inventing the pattern the whole time and didn't throw out the unwanted patterns. Then you save everything. You label what you can, and then save everything, because when you rebuild it, you'll figure it out, and then that's when you fix. Then you label everything at that point. Yeah, I have a few of those too. I'm going through Ben Franklin's pattern right now. In fact, I just finished digitizing it today, and I'm going to shoot a video after I get done with this. It shows how to put it together, and I should have it up tonight, which would be great. And then I'm going to do the dog one too. So I'll finally have some patterns up for sale after saying so every couple of days. Well, I have a couple of patterns that when I was putting stuff together, or cleaning up this place, I found a couple of patterns that I weren't labeled. I have no idea what they're for. I have no idea what they go to. I think I'll probably just throw them out because I'm afraid they'll confuse me more than anything else. But yeah, I have a couple of patterns, and they're just like mouth plates, but they do nothing but confuse me. Okay, what'd you say here? Chase, I hope one of these big YouTube documentary people stumble upon the history of Melonpool. It's quite interesting. It'd be nice. It'd be nice if somebody would do that. Hint, hint. Well, I'll show you. Let me show you what I have to work with. My mystery patterns here. These are it. I mean, they're almost what I'm making right now, but I don't know. I don't know what this is for. This might be for Jay the Monster. Yeah, that might be what that's from. And this might be the mouth palette for T-Mobile. I'm not sure. They're both mouth palettes, but I don't know what they are. One thing that's nice is there's a lot of patterns that actually are pretty easy to identify no matter what. Like, it's pretty easy to tell a head pattern from a hand pattern, stuff like that. But they're not always that easy. Okay, so this would be the basic head. Yeah, so I'm gonna glue this one together. So one of the problems that with the original, well, there were a couple of problems with the original Ralph that got stolen. Number one, the the head tended to squish down when you pulled the mechanism. The whole head would kind of squish. So I have to address that. And the other thing was that the interior of the mouth was like a chamber of horrors. There were so many hinges and pieces of wire and things in there because it was so makeshift. However, it did work to some extent when it first started. So I think I was on the right track.
But the trick is to try and make it as user-friendly as you can. That's funny, Karen. Karen says it's relaxing to watch me build as opposed to building herself. And I did buy some more barge. Should be here tomorrow or the next day. Some people were saying it looked like I need to get a new pan. I can't believe how much contact cement I used on that Godzilla build. Yesterday you showed the panel of Tony the Tiger fired gag where Tony asked if he was fired and showed a room of cats. How much would you sell that for? If you were going to sell it, of course. I think $100. Usually they're $100 unless they're really complicated. And then the dailies are between 40 and 50, depending on how complicated those are. That one's a pretty good gag. Yeah, I gotta get some of that too. Yeah, I can get the barge, but I haven't been able to get the thinner out here. I like it a little thicker too. When I get a new can, usually it's too runny for me. What's RH?
Okay. Oh, Dual. Well, Dual and Barge don't work together, do they? I know Barge makes a thinner, which I tried to get, but it's funny. Amazon will ship the Barge to me, but not the thinner. We used to have both Dual and Barge in the shop with BJ, and we found that they wouldn't stick together. You had to use one or the other. Yeah. I'll get some thinner at some point. I suppose I could go down to what's that shoe company in LA? I could drive out there and get some from them. I forget their name though. It starts with an S. All right, so there's this Proto Skull. Okay, you can kind of see how this is going to work. The back of his head, or the bottom of his jaw is just basically my hand. And then the skull is held out from this. Now, I don't like how this is so pointy, so I'm going to add a wedge here. And I'm also going to incorporate the mouth, the cheek in here. Crap. So let me address this problem here. If you want to see what puppet I'm building, it's the same one that I put as my avatar today in Facebook. So I think it needs a wedge about like that. So I'm going to make that. So what I do is I kind of squeeze it into the position it needs to be. And I just kind of take a mental note of what that shape looks like. And then I try to add that to it. And it may not be symmetrical, but I'll fix that when I do the truing up. And I'll leave it a little long because it's like a pen nib. Or a candle flame or something. Karen, you have an animation background, don't you? Isn't that where you came from?
Well, you get to the point where you start to see what it needs. Like that's one of the things that I want to try and teach people is this idea of being able to identify where it's wrong and then how to fix it. Like if you need to push it out, you need to add a wedge. If you need to pull it in, you need to remove a wedge. If you need to flatten it out, you need to take out the wedges and put in a flat piece that takes that shape. You say piecework, do you mean animation or the way I build puppets? This angle might be better. Put that angle on. Let's see what I'm doing here. You see it kind of rounded out that head a little bit. It still isn't quite right, but it's getting there. I think it needs another push out there, another wedge. But needs something right there. Yeah. Okay, so here's what I think I need. I'm going to try this and see if it even works. So I think it needs a flap that goes around like so. So that when it's shut, it pushes it out. Sorry. Okay, this is just me trying to figure this out.
Is the back too high? Well, probably is right now, but I'm not done with it. So, and also take it, you have to kind of keep in mind the eyes are going to be up here. I'm not sure that's working, but I'm just trying to figure this out. Okay. What are you making Ralph, Amber? Or remaking Ralph? He might be Ralphie right now, but he'll be Ralph eventually. Okay, so I'm marking in where I think it needs to be cut. And I'm going to add some material there. So all my hard work already being destroyed. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put like a 2-inch strip of foam on there, and then cut away what I don't need. So what I'll do, I don't know what's the best angle. He's saying ouch over my impromptu surgery here. Okay. Yeah. So I kind of feel like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. See, I love that I have ideas for what I'm going to do, and I don't even elaborate on it. And this may not work. This may, but again, I got to try. It's very quick and dirty. I draw the way, I build the way I draw. I draw very sketchy, and then as I refine and as if I was drawing, I ink. I clean up the prototype as I go until finally I do the final one, which is like the inks. And then I guess putting the skin on is kind of like coloring it. So yeah, I definitely work very dirty, which is fine. Where your model sheets? In my head. My model sheets are in my head. Can draw these characters in my sleep. Okay, so I got my model sheets right here. Been, sort of. I'm trying to see what I'm doing. All right, so This is the mouth palette. I'm going to start in the center of the bottom. Work my way around. And I'll cut off the excess. And that doesn't have to join up, but let's see. So in looking at this, I need it to relax up here. So I'm going to remove this material. And I kind of like what it's doing at the front here. So I may keep that. No, it's going to be a little different. I think it's going to have a foam mouth plate. It's going to be real loose in here. Let's see what this does. So it almost works. It almost works here. I think I need a little bit more material on the cheeks. Sorry. But I think once that's grafted on there, I'm starting to get that look that I'm looking for here. Okay, so let's glue that back on. I think I might want to glue it on so that it pushes out. Like so. So let me try that. Yeah, it won't be hard. I don't think it's going to be hard. It might have a little bit of hard palette, but I think most of it's going to be foam for the palette.
Either that or rubber. Although I've never had much luck with the rubber. I mean, with the mouth rubber. I think what I learned from this really is not to be too precious with everything, especially at this stage. Like, you may have to destroy something you spent hours on if it's not working. And, I mean, that's okay. So I'm actually going to join it to this part, the outside of it. I don't think Ralph has a very solid head. And he may have a solid upper, but I think it's like gonna only be, I think it's maybe be hard about here and then be soft all the way down after that.
Okay. Again, this may not work, but it might. Yeah, I think I can tell you right now. I need to regroup just a little bit. Yeah, I don't want to talk about another canceled movie.
Okay, so it's going to transition from one. It's going to be smooth in the front and then work its way around to the sides when I glue it. I have no idea how I'll ever note that on the patterns, but I'll try.
Okay, I may not be doing it very much longer anyway. I actually got farther than I thought I was going to on this stuff. Okay, so I want to hook it into there and then work my way around. I mean, you can kind of see where I'm going with this. I might have a nose here too. Let me see. Yeah, okay. I have some more Ralph parts. Okay, here we go. All right, so I got some painted eyes, although they're wrecked. Sorry, did you create the eye bobbles connection on live? I'm wondering how you joined those together. I didn't do it on live. I just showed how it was. I'll do it eventually. So what I did was how this was made was I take it on the angle on the grinder and I set it to like a 30-degree slant going this way, and then I just run the half a Christmas ornament up to it to take that edge off both sides, and then you can hit it with crazy glue and kicker, and then you turn it over. And what I usually do, this is how I usually do it. I take a binder clip and I hold the two together like so, and then I epoxy a binder clip in there to keep it all together. And that's usually how I do it. So there should be a binder clip in this one too, but for some reason, I guess it didn't work. A smaller one. And then I take the metal parts off. And then it has like a binder clip in there. Okay, so you can start to see it come together, right? And I think I need to take a little bit off of his chin here, hit a wedge and pull that in, or maybe take it off completely because that'll all just be fabric. But I like the lip. Like I kind of feel like yeah, that didn't work. Well, that was kind of the idea, was just wondering if everyone in chat knows that what stars are and how they work. I thought I did, but I didn't. I bought a block and was able to leave some here for Steve. Maybe Google it when you have some time. Oh, I don't even know what that is. Well, anyway, I think I need to add that back on, what I just cut off. I think that looked better. But again, until it has the fabric on, I mean, it kind of looks like, was it Squidward? See, this is what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to, you know, kind of have it soft so that you can be doing stuff like this. So, anyway. Yeah, I think that's going to look more like Ralph. I think this needs to be cut down a little bit and rounded out. Yeah, I think I'm on the right track though with those cheeks. I think the biggest thing is if everybody could subscribe to my YouTube channel, Puppet Troop, that would be good. But other than that, I don't know what else I can do. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it here. Looking down inside, he's got plenty of room in there for a mechanism of some kind. Like, I can reach, my fingers reach right to there. So if I had a trigger there that I could grab, I could make those eyelids go up and down. That's the idea. Okay, so the material I use for Sam and Mayberry and Roberta's eyes is it's styrene, and it's vacuformed. I made a buck that is I carved it to make that kind of butt shape that you have to have a giant vacuform machine that just comes down on it, and it makes those things. And then I cut them different sizes for the different puppets that I build. He has so many undercuts in his eyes. I'm kind of stuck not having that. Yeah, I think that's going to work pretty well. I'm going to fix that. This is actually one of the other mouth. This is the same pattern that I started with. It's all put together. This is as far as I got with it, and he's very limited as far as what he can do. He doesn't have those cheeks that I'm trying to get in there. I think this was Ralphie's, and you can see this is the same foam as So this is reticulated foam. This is what it looks like when you first get it, and this is what 14 years sitting on a shelf will do to it. And it's still usable, but it's because it's had so much exposure to UV light. I don't think it's good to use this as a starting point. But it's got the neck ring in, it's got the mouth palette. You know, I'm surprised I even still have it, but you can kind of see. Well, here's another one. You know, this is another version of Ralph. Sure. Yeah. Well, the problem with doing it that way is that I don't have access to the machine to do it. I only had access to it for a brief time while I was working at, or while BJ was working at Legacy, and they had a giant vacuform machine. I still have the Buck. I mean, the Buck's right here. This is his iBuck. And what it has this really dense foam that's similar to that green foam that you can use for doing fat flowers, and you can shape it with really weak sandpaper or a file, and you make the shape, and then we did a real thin styrene pull on it, which gave it a smooth surface that then you can do vacuform pulls off of, and that right there corresponds to Mayberry and Roberta's nose. And then when I do Sam's eyes, I just cut it about an inch in, so it's a smaller shape. But I wanted that break between the two eyes so that it would work that way. But on both Mayberry and Sam and Roberta, I really need to take the eyes off and paint them, because the raw vacuform stuff scuffs like crazy. But I only have a vacuform machine that can do up to 5 inches, and this is more like 8. Oh, that's good to know, Amber. I'll fix that today. I wonder, I mean, Chase, you're coming in through YouTube, right? And you're able to post. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's the same content. Although I'm gonna shoot some tutorials tonight to go with the patterns that I'm gonna release. So those will be different. It's just easier than having to write up tutorials for everything. Yeah, that's pretty tight. I need to fix that. Yeah, anyway. Sculpture Block is their site, but I bought mine on eBay or Amazon. what are we talking about here? They call that sculpting foam a sculpture block. You asked BJ one time for me, and I found one online, but never carved it. Oh, okay, gotcha. Thank you for letting me know what that's called. I completely forgot. Okay, so on this, I need to figure out a way to fix this back of this head, which is going to be something. I think that the lower lip, I think I'm going to have to do something with that, basically to kind of curve it out like so. But I think this is just going to be fabric. And I basically have kind of figured out this head, which is great. It'll probably be a 4-piece pattern. Maybe looks a little bit better. I might even have a wig for him. Let me see. Yeah, I do. So, like I said, I had started building a Ralph at one point, but ended up having to abandon it because it wasn't working. I couldn't get the eye mechanism to work. So, here, let me figure out how to get this on here. But I had done his hair, and I took it off. Let's see. So I have his scalped head here. This is a mess. Yeah, this is unusable. But there's part of him. Yeah, I'm gonna have to rethink this a little bit. I think I'm gonna use more. Stick some ostrich feathers in there as well. But I probably can unsew this from use the different sprigs to make his hair. But I just remembered that I had those things. I love your new profile picture. Ralph looks fantastic in 3D form. Thank you. So that was picture that was left over from when I was doing Melon Pull the Motion Picture, or trying to. And I shot all the characters that way. I shot. I was in my den at my old house, and in the dark, and I had the camera up on a tripod in the dark, and I would sit there and have the puppet on my hand, and I had a work light in my lap that was shooting straight up into it, so that until I got it, and then I had the camera on a timer, so it would shoot like every 10 seconds. And I would hit the button, and I get back there and snap, 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 snap. And then I got a bunch of pictures of all the characters in that weird lighting. And I always liked that picture. I always thought it turned out really good. So there's going to be a lot of tweaking I have to do on this. I probably won't do it online just because it is a lot of back and forth. But I'll refine the shape. And I think tomorrow when I come on, I will have the refined shape, and then I'm going to cut it apart and true everything up and then make the final head. And I'll also have figured out what I'm going to use for the mouth palette. We'll see. I do like all I'm getting out of this. I may go get some corrugated gator board. I may end up using some gator board for it, even though I don't use that very much. It has the same properties as corrugated cardboard, where it has it's made of plastic, but it will have a definite way that it moves, and it moves the same way that that this mouth is moving here. But I do think that that's something that it needs, because I'm getting so much more out of this than we ever got out of the old. I mean, this is, again, very different, but oh boy, he's rough. But oh god, the elastic's all deteriorated. But yeah, he can't do much. He just talks like this. Hey, what are you looking at? But see, I think that is going to give him a lot more expression, having that weird mouth. See, that's what I get for sitting around for 14 years thinking about building a new Ralph. Have you tried a plastic kitchen cutting mat for the mouth plate? Some people swear by them. Oh, I haven't tried that, but I have heard people using that. The cutting boards, right? Yeah, I might try that too. That's a good idea. I just know that. I mean, except for the very top where I could see keeping that. Oh my god, that's so nice though. That. I like that the perforation is doing this. I know Muley the Mule uses corrugated gator board. Now, I don't know how that'll translate to Ralphie. I mean, Ralphie is I guess it's just the eyelids. He still frowns all the time, but there's no way that. I mean, how does this guy smile? Yeah, he can't really do it. Is it possible that if you just glued all the felt to the base of the puppet, it can look good and function well? I don't think so. I don't think it does. Number one, felt is very tough to use. Number two, the more places you glue it, the more you hinder up the movement. I am going to have to glue it at wherever it'll tent up here, unless I put glue on this seam. So I probably will put glue there, but really just around the lips. And then at the base of the neck, probably. A nylon mouse pad. Yeah, that might be an option too. I may look into both of those things tomorrow. That's a good idea. I mean, this is all very experimental. So I think this mouth plate, the way this mouth plate worked, there is some Sintra or the garage sale sign, and then there's a rubber mouth plate. And it's a 3-part mouth as well, but yeah, it doesn't have much expression. It's just I. In fact, this might be a better Ralphie than a Ralph. That might be the difference. But I don't like how wide his face is. I don't think it. He looks too happy all the time. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. But I do like I have noses. I had an old Ralphie nose too, because I was going to make this is what Eddie looks like inside. I had an old Ralphie nose, which had a break in it, which I always liked, but I don't seem to see that one. But I do have 2 noses, so that's good. In fact, maybe I'll pull those out. What is this? Oh, that's it. I have used just a fleece. I mean, not a fleece. A reticulated foam. Reticulated foam mouth plate before. Oh, here's a fleeced nose. Here's a nose that I had from when I had it. This isn't even the right nose, I don't think. Let me see. I'm finding all kinds of stuff. This must be the nose that was on that one that had the hair. But these were the same. This and this are the same, but you can see how much bigger the nose gets when you put the fabric on it. See, that would be kind of the way his nose would work. I mean, the good news is I have all the fabric. So, anyway. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me on this. I'll do some work on this more probably tomorrow, and then true it up and maybe see if I can get started on this thing. Yeah, again. I'll probably make some of these as well. All right, I'm gonna go check my YouTube channel and see if I have the comments on or off. And thanks again for popping on. I will see you guys tomorrow.